So in this video, I'm going to go over 3 common scenarios you might run into if you ever have an outlet that's not working. All right, so probably the most common situation I run into when I actually have an outlet that's not working is the downstream GFCI or the GFCI protected outlet. Now, what that essentially means is that in the line of this outlet is a GFCI. So it could be directly connected to the load. There could be multiple outlets on the GFCI, but it's somewhere in the path of that GFCI. All right, so usually the first thing I do when I run into an outlet that's not working is I'll just go around the house and look for any GFCIs that possibly are tripped. Now in this instance, I was able to go into a different bathroom and I can see I do have a GFCI that's tripped, so I can just hit the reset. And now I've reset the GFCI, so I can go now test the other outlet. All right, so now you can see it is working as it should be. So it was just the tripped GFCI. Now this is going to be more common in your kitchen, bathroom, or garage area, but I have seen it in other places. So usually it's good to at least go around if you have an outlet that's not working. Just go around the house, see if you have any GFCIs. Especially bathrooms and kitchens, a lot of times you just have one upstream GFCI, and that's connected to your other bathrooms. So they do trip, and they are GFCI protected. All right, so another common situation where you might run into an outlet with no power is the switched outlet. And it's pretty self-explanatory. Usually it's just run off a switch. Now there's a couple pretty common indicators for this. They're not always true, but I find them to be true most of the time. Usually your top one will be out, but you can plug your tester in down there, and this is on. That'll kind of tell you that it's a switched outlet. The other is the lack of a ceiling light or something like that in the room. So in this circumstance, you can see I do not have a light fixture in the room. So usually that means at least one or two of the outlets are switched. And really in that situation, all you need to do is you just find your wall plate and figure out which switch it is. So I know it's this one. You can flip it on. And now, as you can see, I now have power to that top plug. Now, if you do find yourself in a situation where you do have a switched outlet, usually the best thing to do is just to plug a light into it, and that way you can run it off the switch. Now, another common thing to look for, of course, if neither plug is working, is a blown circuit or a trip breaker at the box. Now in this case, you would just go to your breaker box or your panel and look for any circuits that might be tripped. All right, so a trip breaker could show up in a variety of different ways here. It could be your switch could be flipped all the way back. It could be sitting about halfway, so not all the way back, but about halfway. Or you could see a red indicator in the tripped spot here. So there's a little window here that would show that it's tripped, and that would go red. It really just depends on the like I said, the breaker you have. But all you got to do at that point is just flip it back on. And now you can see that the outlet is working as it should be. Now, usually a good way to tell if it's actually a trip breaker is that both plugs will be out, as well as you'll have multiple outlets in one room or one area that are all out. All right, and that's 3 real quick things you should check before you're calling in a professional in the event that you have an outlet that's not working. As always, thanks for watching. If you're not already a subscriber, make sure you click that link below and become one, and we'll catch you on the next one.